Good evening. Welcome once again to the People's Source Self Connect with me, myself, and I, the Poor People's Governor. Tonight with me, so many good friends with ideas. The friends that are, have their own philosophies, own-minded build-up already towards the social living in the community. On my right here is Mr. Njie. Please welcome on so Daddy. Introduce yourself to the viewers here, Daddy.
Good evening, viewers. I am Njie, as Lamin Champion Sound rightly introduced, and I'm happy to be a guest on his show today. Lamin, thanks a lot for having me.
Welcome, Daddy.
Cheers.
I'm sure it's going to be a big pleasure having you tonight. And on my far left here is a lady by herself. It's a class by herself. Lady Lulu. How are you, Lulu?
Fine, thank you.
Welcome to Self Connect. Those guys there want to know who is Lulu.
Hi, I'm Lulu Labi. I'm from Freetown, and Lamin invited me on his show, and thank you for having me.
That's right, Lulu. Welcome. I have one little question. There was a saying, somebody texted me, to ask you.
Right.
There are these lovely couples. They were so fed up, mad with the life living in the world. And they all decided, now, what can we do? What to solve our problem? The girl say, you know what, darling? Let's just commit suicide. The man say, how? He said, let's go to the 12th floor, story building, and to ourselves. They all agree. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3, boom. They want to go, the man say, oh, wait, ladies first. The ladies start, and the man followed. The man take one step back and stop. You know what happened? The 4 trees closed down. The lady put her parachute on. Landed with parachute. And the man never followed. So who betrayed who?
I said the lady is very clever. There wasn't any betrayal there.
Njie?
Well, I guess that's a funny one. But, sometimes people are cocky, sometimes people are smart, and the lady did the smart thing, if you ask me.
For me, I would say, the lady betrayed.
In what sense?
Because she already have a backup.
Why shouldn't you?
She created it. She decided to let them commit suicide.
Why didn't he have a mind of his own?
That's what the lady says.
So the man just had a contingent plan.
Exactly.
And change of heart at the
man was just lucky because of one step ahead, he decided ladies first.
But I mean, there's love and there's stupidity. And for me, I feel like that's stupidity.
You too?
I totally agree with her.
Same
oh, wow.
This note.
That makes a change?
Yes.
Now, Lady Lulu, in our own African or black society, what do you think needs to be changed towards relationship between boyfriend, girlfriend, marriages, and so on?
Wow. First of all, I think there's this, the most important thing about African relationships between a man and a woman, it's where you have a place built for a woman already. There's a place for you. You're not, and in much more conservative society than my one, where I come from, where the men tend to be the boss in the house or in that relationship. They have an idea that they are meant to be the boss, and I find that to swallow, because relationship consists of two individuals. It doesn't necessarily mean the man is the boss or the woman is the boss. It's a partnership. It could be that the woman can go out and earn more money and be the breadwinner. That doesn't make the man any less of a man. But in Africa or in West Africa in general, if that happens, society tend to think that makes the man less of a man, and it doesn't. It just makes sense who should stay at home and who makes more money.
That's a very liberal thought, by the way. But anyway, I think the problem here starts with the new African paradigm. The African, as the African was once, is no longer. The old African, or the African of yesteryears, was an African based and highly entrenched on his Africanness, his tradition and culture. The new African has been bombarded by Western ideology, Western culture, and still want to be an African. And in so doing, we're no longer Africans, and we're not the Western people or person we're aspiring to be. So the African is at a crossroad. And what can change this is for the African to have a serious rethink of his cultural identity, to find out who he, she is, and collectively who and what our society ought to be. Back to what you said, I mean, in terms of relationship, we have deviated from societal roles that we used to have then, whereby people play certain roles in society, men, women, not to say that women should not be educated, not to say that they should not have equal access and equal opportunity, but when it comes to the home, I think what our grandparents and forefathers did really fostered a sense of cohabitation, and that sense of cohabitation created families. And today we have disintegrated families because we're aspiring to be what we're not, and consequently we have high divorce rates, we have dysfunctional homes, and we have, I mean, we are a product of what we want to be that we are not.
So, hold on. If I am right here, if I can get you right, you agree or disagree with her?
I mean, I agree to a point, but I am just saying that the African has deviated from who the African is and is. The African will always be an African, but us, the neo-Africans, the new Africans, we're trying to be what we are not, and in so doing we're lost. We're neither Tubabs nor are we Africans, and in so doing we're a confused bunch.
And we're still black? That means we want to follow the
No, actually we're not even black. We're not black.
We're still African.
Because we're still trying to do the hair extension, the blondes, the blue, you know, the, what you call again, the bleaching and everything.
Yeah, and
so the African has an inferiority complex, which is sad.
Hair on top of
no, it is sad. I mean, the modern African...
Some Africans.
No, well, collectively, when we talk, we're not talking about individuals. We're talking about collectivism. And we're looking at where our societies are heading. Our societies are heading more towards a doom than a progress in terms of ideology. Yes, the African is doing a lot individually, but collectively, culturally, we're moving away from our norms and values that made us Africans, and consequently we are paying through the way we raise our kids, the outcome of our kids, and the dysfunctionality within our homes.
Thank you. Madam Lulu? You hear the social issue part from an African man. Let's hear your side now.
I'm sorry, the divorce rate, the reason why divorce rate
that's a very good point.
The reason why divorce rate is high is that women are having more financial independence. And before we didn't have that. And when, you know, some people stay in marriages because they don't have financial independence. And some marriages are bad. And I know a lot of women who stay in marriages because of that. And the more educated us African women are, when we have that financial independence, our tolerance of what we can take from a man and what we expect is totally different.
Sorry, who is zooming here? You doing? Okay.
It's totally different. I expect a certain thing from a man that I'm seeing. And if that is not what I want, I know what I want. And if that is not what I want, I'm not going to sit in a bad marriage.
I agree.
So that's why we have a high divorce rate. That has nothing to do with Western influence. It has something to do with financial independence.
Hold on, just a second. So, if you have that money or you are financially okay, that means you're not going to compromise. You will not take any rubbish. That's what you want to say.
It's not. No. That's not what I'm saying.
Because I hear you saying that, you know, financial reasons, you know, that makes some marriage, even they're so bad, you will stay inside.
But that's not what I'm saying. I mean, if you're being abused, let's say you're an abused wife,
Yes.
and you have no financial independence, you're going to stay there.
Okay.
But if you have financial independence, you're not going to stay there. You're not going to take that. And I'm not saying we shouldn't compromise, and we should compromise in relationships. Relationship is the most important thing. We should compromise. But there are certain things that people take in marriages, and they only take that because they have no way out.
Okay.
And most of us African women don't have that leeway to say, I can support myself without my husband. So you stay in bad marriages. I have seen it.
Yeah, but still now in Africa, the marriage is different. Like what he was saying, Africa before and now the modern Africa, the new look of Africans pretend to be Europeans but not Africans.
Why are we
So
pretending?
they kind of lost in the culture. Like before, back in the days, you will be married to a husband who is either a cousin or from the environment or relatives, still, or close friends, yeah? Let's say that marriage, either bad or good, circumstances can change, they can still be the same, but you can still be upset without financial, and they still come to terms with it and arrange it, and you have advice and blessing to carry on.
Lamin, I just want to ask her one thing. What makes us an African? Is it not our identity?
Yes.
Our identity is based on tradition, norms, and cultures, and values, right? We're not an African just because we're black. We're an African because of our cultural identity, our traditional values, and our societal norms. So we are deviating from what made us an African to a new entity that we don't even know. And this entity, we have seen the impact of westernization on the West itself. I mean, you go to Europe, you go to America, you can see the destitution rates because of homelessness. You can see dysfunctional families and drug use, drug abuse.
Yeah.
Do we want that Africa? Are we learning the best things from Europe and America, or are we just buying wholesale what Europe and America has to offer us?
That is scaremongering, by the way.
No, it's not scaremongering, it's a reality.
No, it is.
Yes, Lulu, come. Let her come.
That is
Come, Lulu.
scaremongering. And by the way, tradition can change. We can create new traditions.
It's organic, I agree, but tradition is very organic, culture is organic,
then it was created.
even language is organic. But you know what? There are certain paradigms that we don't check out of. The parameters have to be
Why
set.
is it when you men, when things are not going your way, you instantly have to find a reason to say it's the westernization of Africa?
Well,
Because
unfortunately, I don't see myself as a man. I see myself as a human being. So gender is not an issue for
Well,
me.
it feels like it is.
No, it is not.
Lulu,
It feels like
Absolutely
it.
not.
do you have one friend or family members or anyone who went through a serious financial problems in marriage and get divorced?
Of course. I know a lot of them. I have friends.
Tell us the story. Not the
They
name,
would-
but
I mean-
explain to us. Let's hear from you.
I have an auntie who's been married. I'm going to say this on TV. Who's been married 12 times.
Okay.
You understand? She's a very independent lady.
Oh.
But her first marriage was so bad. She was in it and she got abused so badly. She went to school at 35 to educate herself, to raise her children. So I have an example in my home of what an abused African wife is. And I think they instilled that in us, to be independent minded. And not to let somebody walk over you just because you don't have
Yeah,
financial
but that's
power.
not the norm. Basically, what you're telling me that African men, or the male species of Africans, are abusive, violent, and ungrateful. Why? Because your assumption has always been about abuse. Women need financial independence so they won't be abused. I think there are nice African men out there, there are nice African women out there, but collectively as a society, our problem is we're living lives that we don't understand.
How
We're
is
too
that?
much. Yeah, okay, I'll give you one thing. I mean, our new concept of, we have to go out and fend for ourselves. It is good. I support it. I support financial independence for any person, male or female. So I don't have a problem with that, and I don't think any forward-looking African man has a problem with that. What I'm saying here is we need to be anchored as a society, as a continent, on core values that represents our identity. And our identity is we are African.
We are back once again, ladies and gentlemen. It is hot in the studios here. I got here with myself and Mr. Njie alongside Lady Lulu. Lulu, everything is going on, Lulu. Lulu, so talking about this marriage issues, huh? That's what we are now. Like you were just explaining about your experience from somebody that you knew, married like a couple of, 12 times. Okay. Somebody also told me that in one country, around somewhere, women can. What was the story about?
Oh, I told you the story.
That was you.
I said in the Himalayas, places like China or Tibet, Bhutan, women can marry 5 husbands. And well, my understanding, the reason for this is mostly it's land, because the Himalayas, you know how high up it is. So I think it's 5,000 miles of above sea level, and because of that, so if you have 5 boys in the family, you marry all of them. It's not compulsory, but the women choose to. So basically, you know, they all have the same wives, and they all sleep in the same room. And somebody was saying, well, you remember the ladies that were saying it's very tiring to have, 5 husbands. That's because we were talking about men marrying more than one wife. It's, you know, it's frowned upon for a woman to have more than one husband, but it's okay for a man to have more than one wife. I mean, how is that fair if we live in a gender equality society?
Basically, this one I have to translate this to my viewers in Wolof and in Mandinka. Nyinga mi fate Wolong, dunia sate do bijele bawo ninkel ka musu fula futu jam wala musu saba wala musu nan. Wo sate fana ka fole la musol fana isa sembo dile fana sa ke lul so. Ma vale wo kejan. Wama ngeen def loolu lu mo explain mooy comme jigéen yi yéen a doon laajte mbiri 50-50 comme si 50-50 war a nekk fii si Gambia tamit ak Sénégal mbaa di ngeen nangu seen jabar itam maare ñu seya juróomi husband ñu am juróom jëkkër en même temps on the same time wax ma ne loolu ngeen war a def kii loolu la doon explainer. All right, let's welcome back once again. We have Mr. Njie here and Miss Lady Lulu. Lady Lulu out of England, from Freetown.
I'm from Freetown.
Lady Lulu is from Freetown.
Yes.
What's so good in Freetown that you
Everything.
can invite somebody like me to go to Freetown?
I mean, it's for me personally, I'm biased. I'm a Freetonian. I love my country. I love Sierra Leone. I think it's the most beautiful country in the world. And we're diverse. It's a society where we're not prejudiced. And we are probably, in Africa, one of the most religious tolerant countries in the world. And that is, I think, we have so much more. We are in Sierra Leone. We have extremely religious tolerance, and that's one thing I'm so proud of.
More than Gambia?
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't live in Gambia, so I don't know. Gambia is
More than Senegal?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
the word Christmas,
Yeah.
it basically came out because of Sierra Leone.
Yeah, thank you.
People
You
on
went
Friday.
there,
No, I did not. But I mean, I know them.
Okay.
I mean,
On
on
Friday,
Friday they'll go to the mosque, and Sunday they'll go to the
the
church,
church.
and religion is not a big thing.
Here also, I go
No,
to
no, it's
church and then we can
No, we
marry
have
Muslim.
Indian, we
We
have
can
Indian
marry
temple
Christian,
there. No, of
marry
course we
Muslim.
do
No,
that.
but that's
Gambia.
not, we're not talking about
You
that.
have
We're
Indian
talking
temple there?
about
Yes,
the
we do.
level of
You have Sikh
tolerance.
temple there. You have
Oh, yeah.
Sikh. See, you have Sikhs. I mean, it really is compared to what the states the world is right now. For an African country, you go to Sierra Leone. That is one of our biggest exports. We are a liberal. It's a conservative but liberal in a sense.
Oh, sorry, there's
Let's-
nothing conservative about Sierra.
Okay, less conservative than Gambia. Okay, less conservative than Gambia, but it is. I mean, but the religious tolerance bit, it's one thing. We're tolerant towards foreigners, towards people. We're welcoming, and in the Gambia as well, people are very welcoming. But
Thank
it's,
you,
know,
Sarah.
No, of
It's
course I'm going to
called
say
the
that.
Smiling
I love your
Coast.
country, and it's
It's
a beautiful
called the
place.
Smiling
It is a
Coast.
beautiful
The nature
place.
is perfect, and I love your beaches. Like River number
Two,
2,
yeah.
Lumley Beach,
Tokay. You have Turtle Island,
I know,
which is beautiful
Banana
in
Island.
Bond.
Okay, okay, Lady Lulu, that was a good promotion for Sierra Leone, you know, tourism. The Minister of Tourism in Sierra Leone should really give you a good credit for this one. Welcome back. Welcome back. Mr. Daddy Njie is in the building once again. Daddy Guy and Njie alongside Madam Lady Lulu. Madam Lady Lulu, we are back with your about this marriage financially strong or weak, no money, then you have to stay there and take all the bullshit and all the stress. So, like you were explaining to us, someone that you know, and she was married like 12 times, you know, or 11 or 10 times. What do you learn about that?
Never to get married.
Never to get married?
Yes.
Exactly. Are you married? Sorry to ask.
No, I'm not married. I'm proudly unmarried.
Why? Why do you choose?
It's a personal choice. It's not for me. I don't think I need to sign the contract to say I love somebody.
For you, marriage is a contract that is signed.
I feel like it's a contract, and it obligates you to wake up next to somebody.
That's in Sierra Leone or in
anywhere where you have to sign a contract.
Well, Lamin, once again, I will step in and just tell her where she has diverted from her Africanness.
To Europe.
Because not only Europe, to something that's very foreign to what she is. You know, in my local dialect or language, there's one word, a wooden plank, no matter how long it stays in the water, it will never be a crocodile, nor will it be a fish.
Yes.
So regardless of how long you've been in Europe, America, or wherever, or imported ideology into you, you will never be what you are not, and you will forever be an African. Africans were not married in the past because it was a contract. Africans were married in the past to create a harmonious society. Africans were married in the past to foster a community. So marriage is not a contract for the African, sorry to say.
So you're saying cohabiting is not building a family. There are different types of relationships.
Well, in our value system, in our value systems as Africans, we shun just purely straight out cohabiting.
I am an African in the 21st century, and I do what's right for
me. Who's 21st century?
I mean, it's definitely not yours.
No,
it's definitely not yours, because it's not conform to what you want.
Because I'm not a neo-African. I'm an African.
I am an African like you.
No, you're a neo-African.
That is your opinion of me.
No, it's not the opinion I have of you. It's what you have molded yourself to be.
What? Just because I don't want to get married, just because I don't want to sign a contract, just because I don't think I want to be obligated. I want to wake up next to somebody because I want to, not because I have an obligation to wake up to that person, or because I have an obligation to be a partner to that person. I wake up with my free will that I'm here because I love this person and I want to be here. So what's wrong with that? What is marriage? What is your definition of marriage?
Lady Lulu, last time the same thing again. I'm trying to tell you this. Because of marriage, that's why we all here are in this world. Yes, right or wrong?
Marriage is
so God brings you over here for you also to come and create, you know, and make some and have some children as well for yourself.
But that doesn't mean
you want to be an auntie, you want to be a grandma, you want to be called mom later or not.
But can I say, does that mean if I cohabit, I wouldn't have the family?
Marriage is an institution in my worldview and in my African concept. For her, marriage is not an institution. Her institution is just self. And the African was never about self. The African was about community, and community has standards. Where I'm from,
right,
dictates who I am.
And where I'm from does not dictate.
Well, where you from, that's not how they think.
But where you from, what did they tell you? You have to go to school and learn and get married.
We have a choice. Where I'm from, we have a choice.
No, what's the choice? The choice says you have to get married or don't get married.
No, you don't have it. You have
a choice within an African paradigm or a choice within your established paradigm.
Can I just say, as a Sierra Leonean, I am given a choice to get married or not. It is my choice. It's what works for me. It's not about being African.
this from,
it's what works for me.
But see, these
Tribe
things are
or
not
religion?
compelled.
Is this a tribe from a
No, but see,
religion?
these things are not.
It's not. It's a personal thing. This is my personal
See,
thing.
morality and culture are not legislated. So these things are not things that we put in black and white in our constitutions and in our laws that say you have to be married. But our societies thrived and our societies became successful because of the values set forth by our ancestors.
Right.
Yes, some of the things that we inherited from them were not the best of things. We can change those. I don't have a problem. But the core values that anchored our Africanness should remain and should be the driving force of the next generation of Africans. The problem that this continent is faced with today is people like you and people like me who've been out there, saw a lot, want to come and implant it into our societies and thereby creating misinformation, miscommunication, and misunderstanding. And it's these schisms and isms of Mrs. that has brought the African to where he is today. Confused block of people with no orientation or direction.
But I'm not trying to implement my ideas onto anybody. This is just who I am. It's my personal view.
But don't you
No,
think
I'm
you're
not
an
saying
opinion
it's-
leader?
Sorry?
Lamin, can I handle it? Don't you think you're an opinion leader?
Well, listen.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Don't you think you owe it to society to be mindful the way you behave?
I am very mindful of the way I
Thank
behave.
you.
I
Since you're
conduct
mindful,
myself very well.
since you're mindful of the way you behave, don't you think your set of values should conform with mainstream values?
Not necessarily. My set of values work for me. I'm not asking somebody else to take my value. This is a personal decision. This is what works for me. It might not necessarily work for the next person, and that's perfectly
Power to her.
fine. This is not about telling people that you have to do what I do. No, this is what works for me as an individual. This is, they say do as I say, don't do as I do.
More power to you then.
So this is what works for me. Don't get it wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I love being in a relationship. I love it. And I have been in a long-term relationship for 10 years. I have. I refuse.
Okay.
I have been in a long-term relationship.
For 10 years?
10 years.
You get
So-
any kids? Sorry to
No
ask you.
kids, no.
No kids.
But this is it. It's so judgmental. People say to me, "Oh, you're a woman in your 30s. You don't have kids and you're not married," and instantly that makes you a horrible person. No, it doesn't.
I disagree.
It is a personal choice.
I agree.
Okay.
So why I don't want people to follow me. This is just what works for me. Me, Lulu Labi, this works for me.
What tribe are you? Sorry.
Well, my dad is Moroccan. My dad is half Moroccan, half
And Moroccan,
Soso.
they're Muslims. huh?
Yes, half Soso.
Okay,
And
the same dad, Moroccan, half Susu.
half Soso,
And
half
Susu still,
yeah.
they still get
And
white.
my mother
and
is
whatever.
Mende and
Kemene
Mandingo.
and Mandingo and Nende, and they still get married too.
Well, that is a personal choice. I was raised to make my own decision, and this is what
and
I've
your
done.
decision for 10 years is not to get married.
No, I was in a happy relationship.
Lamin, I respect her choice
Yes.
not to get
No,
married.
I'm
It's
coming
not
to
a
that,
problem.
but I want,
See,
I
the
want her
problem
to tell
is-
me one good
See,
thing.
the problem is
Uh-huh.
it's not about her getting married or being single. The problem is our orientation, our worldview as modern Africans is so convoluted and distorted. We're not living realistically as Africans. And the unfortunate bit of it is we have adopted cultures that we don't even understand, despite the fact that we've lived in Europe and America for 15, 20, 30 years of our lives. We're still Africans, and her value system, I mean the anchor, the roots of what holds her as a person, to the day she goes to the grave will be African, no matter how far
Always.
and how long she wants to shy away from it. You will live and die as an African.
I'm a proud African.
No, I'm not saying you're not proud African. I am just saying the value systems that made you who you were, not you as an individual, but collectively as a society. Most of us that got educated and lived in the West for a while are trying to deviate from what made us who we were and what our it's an inheritance. We should be proud to take what we inherited from them. Yes, modernization has hit us. We should also take what the world has to give us. We have to embrace the world. but we should not just give away ourselves.
But I'm
to
not
the
giving
world.
away myself to the world. I'm just being me. This is not, you are trying to say, I'm not imposing my ideas on anybody. That's what I want you to understand. And just because I have these ideas doesn't make me less African. Don't
Okay.
get it wrong.
Lady Lulu, here I come. If you've been given a role model in the society, what will you advise the younger generation? Get married, don't get married. Get relationship, don't get relationship. You know, if you are financially very rich and a man tells you A, B, C, you very upset, you will just tell the man, hello, bye-bye, I'm gone. What will you advise
I mean, that's a
for the
person.
future generation?
I mean,
No, this is not about you. This is you now as a role model to advise
I mean,
the younger generation. What are you going to advise them?
To be fair, this is an advice I don't think I'm in the position to give because it's a personal choice. You can't. Every relationship is different, right? Whether it's who you know who you are as an individual, whether you want to get married, whether you don't want to get married. It's what I think everybody should follow is what works for them. I mean, I can't really give an advice on that. That is a personal choice. It's what works for you.
So for you, if I am right here, you would rather see sisters or ladies all over. Anything they want, they can do.
Well, yes, it's their
You will
choice.
not, yes.
If it works for
I
them.
am coming. You will never advise them to get into serious relationship or to build families or, to be conscious and follow the African culture, which is 99% of Africans get married. Europe, you can stay with a man 5 years, 3 years, you don't get married. Which one will you take this? Which direction will you take?
It's not my place to advise
Which
anybody.
direction will you take?
I've
We say
taken my
if
own
you are-
direction. My own direction
Your
is.
direction, I can see it
Right.
already. Your direction said, I will do
I can't.
what I
My
like.
point is, I cannot advise somebody how to run their lives. It's not my place to advise somebody to have a family or not. That is a personal choice.
Okay.
That's what I'm all about. It's personal
This
choice.
personal choice comes when you are grown up, like we said, you are independent, you have your work, you have your financial, you can do anything you want to do. But that doesn't mean our culture in the society as an Africans, we have an identity. We are supposed to get married, we're supposed to build families and move on. This is the part I am asking Lady Lulu for the young generation. What do you have for them?
I don't
Well,
have
she has
it.
already
Nothing.
made her point
Thank
that
you.
her life is for her,
Yes.
and she doesn't want them to do as she
As she
does.
does,
But
yes.
my thing is, I respect that. That's her personal choice,
Mhm.
and you know what? More power to you on that.
Mhm.
But my thing is, we have to be mindful of one thing. We can embrace the world. We can embrace modernity, no problem. But every tree has an anchor, and the anchor is called the roots. And our roots is our core values, and our core values makes us who we are. And we have to be in tune with our core values to maintain that identity of who we are as a people. Who we are as a people run down into our DNA, whether you like it or not. You are Sierra Leonean, and I'm sorry to say, there are certain things it's only Sierra Leonean people who do it.
Right.
I am Gambian, there are certain things it's only Gambians who do it.
Right.
So it's innate into my DNA, whether I like it or not. I mean, when you see an African, I'll give you a simple example. When I travel, black or white, I see someone with a lot of luggage, I know they're Africans, period. Black or white.
Yes.
A white South African, a black South African, we are luggage people.
Excess baggage.
So it's innate in my DNA. So point I'm trying to get to is we have to stick to our core values and still embrace and adopt the modern world.
So are you saying because I'm not married, my core values are
No,
shaky?
no, it's not about you. I'm not talking about you.
Okay, are you saying if somebody's not married, their core values are
Oh
shaky?
no, definitely not. I mean, actually, my discussion here has nothing to do with marriage. I think my discussion has everything to do with the modern African, the new African, the neo-African, the me, the you, who have spent a lot
Our
of
new
time out there.
generation, the new generation, actually.
Who have spent a lot of time out there and are back into Africa, imported ideas and ideology that's not mainstream. And I'll give you a simple example. Western civilization as we know it today, the Platos, the Homers, the Iliads, the Socrates, when they came to Africa to go to school in Egypt, graduated, went back to Greece, they were prosecuted because they were bringing things that were foreign to them. So it's normal when,
That's not their culture.
because it's not them. They were taking back something that was
That
imported.
never belongs to them.
Me and you, the same thing we're doing. We came back to Africa, we brought a value system different from our value system, and we're not only embracing it. You are an opinion leader, whether you like it or not. I am an opinion leader, whether I like it or not. Therefore, I have a minimum responsibility to society to direct the direction the society goes, especially for the younger ones.
Right.
Wow. Well, viewers, you can still send us your questions on our Facebook page, Champion Sounds Production. Champion Sounds Production. Lady Lulu is here. Send us a message. We'll go after her anywhere. Mr. Njie is here. Send us a message. What do you think of these two? What do you think of the show itself? You're welcome. It's part of you. It's part of you. Be part of that. Let's contribute. Let's educate it. Let's create. Let's talk. Let's just have fun here, you know? Whilst you're watching here, I know you will be saying, oh man, that boy is crazy. That lady is mad. Oh, what's wrong with Cham? That's what we want from you. That's why it's called Saf Connect. Lulen Saf, New Job Lenko. Min Saf Tal Ngadiala. Lady Lulu, you like sports?
I do.
Which one?
I like rugby, I like tennis, and I like football.
Good one. Mr. Njie?
Well, I'm a basketball fan, and periodically I will watch American football, but I'm a basketball fan.
That's right. Lady Lulu, let's talk a little bit about sport now.
Yes.
You know, that part, we close that other part, we're going to go back to it next, time. Now, football in Africa, what do you think Africa generally in the World Cup, that's the football part. Rugby, South Africa won once before.
Yes. I am a...
What do we have to do as an African to win a World Cup, to bring that cup over Africa? What do you think is missing? What do we have to increase, your point?
I think I can only speak from where I'm from. I think we need more investment in football academies from grassroots. I think that's the most important thing.
You have Calon Academy or whatever? Calon team?
Yes, they do have. Okay, I have to say I'm not quite up to date on it, but they do have a few academies in Sierra Leone. But the thing is, there's not enough investment. There's not enough people to teach young people about sports. And I mean, the grassroots, this is where all the most successful teams in the world, that's why they're so successful, because they genuinely love sport and they invest a lot of money in it. And I think in Africa, that is not one of our priorities, to invest in sports, and which is a sad thing, because sports bring people together, but I'm sure someday we're Africans, we always eventually we would win, and when we start winning, we're not going to stop.
So you think we have to spend more money?
We definitely have to invest more.
Definitely have to invest. Academies and so on, coaches and all that.
Coaches, yes, it's very important. Grassroots, it's the grassroots. You start at an early age, just get them when they're young and build them up. I mean, some of us who are best players in the world are Africans. They live here and they go to Europe, but then the team is built around one person, and that doesn't make a team.
That's very right. Mr. Njie, I know your game, basketball. I'm not even good on basketball.
Well, we can still talk about football.
Your game, basketball. No, we want to create something here for Africans to try and look at it from now. Everything here is about our future, the next generation, whatever. I know right now we cannot have a African team being a basketball champions. Huh?
Well, it's simple. I mean, like she said, I think the problem of the African is Africans, especially African administration, be it FAs or whatever, they're reactionary. The World Cup is coming, we prepare for the World Cup. The African Cup of Nations is coming, we prepare for the African Cup of Nations. We should have programs, and these programs should be medium to long term. From the cradle to maturity.
I agree.
Meaning we should have a 3-year-old, 5-year-old kids, inducing them into football, exposing them into football, looking the best and the brightest amongst them, nurture them, mentor them, harness their skills and talent, and over time we will just polish the diamond that they are. So one thing that African countries do have, not only Gambia or Sierra Leone, like she said, yes, resources is a problem. Secondly, financial commitment from the state is a problem. We don't see football as a business, and sports is now a business, and it's a major export for Africa. If you look at the professional Africans playing in European leagues and the amount of money they make. So they are an export, just like we sell groundnut. One football player in Europe, Akolo Toure, is more than all the groundnuts being sold out of Gambia. So he's an export. I mean, you look at Kolo Toure, Yaya Toure, Didier Drogba, three of them is more than 40%.
Don't forget Samuel
No, I'm talking about Ivory Coast now. Three of these Ivorians are more than 30 to 40% of the cocoa leaving Ivory Coast a year.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So it is a business and it is an export. So if we look at it that way, we will invest into it. And it's that investment that's lacking. And the investment is in infrastructure and in good human resource, i.e. coaches, trainers, and also we need great facilities for these people to thrive. But we need organized football leagues, semi-professional football leagues, and sport managers and sport administrators who can manage these things so that we can have results. I mean, the only places where you see football, basketball, or anything thrive, it's systematically managed at different levels of the game. The marketing side, the publicity side, the training side, the medical and fitness side of it, and as an aggregate, you have a business. So that's what we lack in the business of sport. And up until the governments and the FAs and the teams see that football is no longer a pastime but a business that we need to milk money out of and consequently get trophies out of milking the monies, we will never go to the World Cup and stay in the World Cup.
Thank you, Mr. Njie. You agree to that one?
I totally agree with you. On that
this one, we all agree on this one here on Studios of South Connect. This is the people. So we talk about people. We talk about what's happening. The future is in front of us. Right now, from the sport, we coming into another one. That's my own part too, called entertainment, music. You like music
That
too?
is not my strong point.
That's not. Oh, that's very good. What? Why?
I mean,
I forgot to ask you your hobbies, but you know.
I mean,
do you dance?
I stopped dancing. I mean, I stopped dancing when I was 25 years old.
What? Why?
I don't know.
What was the music? What? By then, who was your favorite artist?
Ooh,
back in 25 years ago?
25 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not that old.
Okay. When you were 25, which artist was your favorite artist?
I mean, that's a long time ago. I don't remember. I mean, I listen to music here and then, but I don't take any special interest in entertainment, not movie or music.
No problem. Let's talk about movie. Because I want everything to be African. I want Africa to be over there. So talk about movie now, you know.
I mean, I used to date somebody who is in the Hollywood. He's an executive producer and he's a bridge financier. So I think that puts me off movies because I tend to watch them before it comes out.
All right.
So we get them first and we watch them together. So that kind of made me lose my interest in going to the cinema.
Okay.
But I do love movies. I used to love movies, and I have two favorite movies. One of them is The Lion King, and some like it hot. I know. I mean, Tony Curtis was my best actor, and Jack Lemmon, and obviously Marilyn Monroe. So yeah. I mean, I never get tired of those movies.
Njie, music, African musicians. General. I'm not talking of here. African musicians.
I'll come back to the same thing. It's all about packaging. It's all about marketing. And I think our music has fallen short because of modernization again. I mean, I respect the Jamaican model because Jamaica is so close to the U.S. R&B,
45 minutes from Miami.
Exactly. R&B, jazz, blues. We're very big, but the Jamaican stuck to ska, roots rock. Yeah. And guess what? They imposed their will to the world, and the world accepted them. Little as they were, they became a force to be reckoned with. From Rolling Stone, from Billboard, everybody knew what Jamaican music is, and it has now become an export to the world. I mean, if you look at the Jamaican music industry, its impact globally, be it shows performed by Jamaican artists, or merchandise or records being sold by Jamaican artists, it's a big percentage of Jamaica's GDP. And the only reason why they made it, they stuck to what is Jamaica.